the president and overthrow the government. We're also learning Kassab may have had help carrying out his plan.
Well, federal affidavits say that Kassab was in contact with others who appear to have been aware of his plan and actions and also provided assistance. This including a couple of people overseas, as well as another person who Kassab allegedly told that he was going to go on a spree of violence.
Prosecutors allege Kassab had ties to extremist groups with neo-Nazi views. And we're going to dive more into these new allegations coming up at 11:16. Keep in mind, this is a local guy, a teenager from Waukesha. A retired Secret Service agent will join us to discuss the new evidence against the Waukesha teen, the red flags before his arrest, and why the Secret Service interviewed him before he was ever arrested, but let him go.
Number 2, smartphones and computers now exempt from Donald Trump's latest tariff plan, at least for now. Another potentially confusing week for the markets, but tech stocks are moving in the right direction today.
Some traders have joked that they could use a Dramamine given these mixed signals from the administration on trade, on tariffs. And some of the big winners this morning include Apple, Google, and Nvidia. According to the Census Bureau, those now exempted tech products accounted for about $100 billion, or 23% of U.S. imports from China last year.
It's ABC News chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis will follow the news throughout the week here because President Trump is clarifying the exemption, saying nobody is getting off the hook.
Number 3, next up, the playoffs. For the second straight year, the Milwaukee Bucks will face the Indiana Pacers in the opening round.
And the Bucks are going to win 8 straight games to close out this 2024-2025 campaign.
Dave Kane with the call from Sunday's overtime win over the Pistons. Game 1 of the Bucks' best-of-7 series with the Pacers is Saturday at noon, an early game. The biggest question for the Bucks right now, will our all-star guard Damian Lillard be available?
I know it's going well. It's progressing well, but I honestly don't know from there where it goes.
Lillard has been out since March 25th with deep vein thrombosis in his right calf. The Bucks beat the Pacers in 3 out of 4 games during the regular season, so hopefully we get that W to start.
Yeah, the one game Indiana won was a crazy 4-point play in Indianapolis. Tyrese Halliburton falling out of bounds. He had a wild shot. Giannis was called for a foul. It was a crazy game. Crazy game. Health will be important. The Bucks haven't been healthy the last couple of years in the postseason. It's 11:14 on WTMJ.
Hey Bucks fans, it's Justin Garcia from the Bucks Radio Network, here to tell you about the launch of the Bucks Central podcast feed. Everything Bucks, on demand, in one spot. From sideline to sideline, hear all the ankle-breaking, rim-rattling, and twine-tingling highlights, exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe to the Bucks Central podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. All the Bucks content your heart desires in one spot. Check out the Bucks Central podcast feed.
Hey, thanks, Justin. Hey, want to get you down to Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. You got to check out the sports book. It is unbelievable. No place like it. If you were there over the weekend, you watched some incredible golf, some incredible basketball. Baseball was on. 2,000 square foot video wall means everything will be on that you want to watch. If it's sports, you'll see it at Potawatomi Sportsbook. Grab some food. They got a full-service bar, VIP deck if you want a more private gathering. It really is a fantastic place. No place like it. The best place to watch sports in the state is in Potawatomi Sportsbook. Check it out and visit paysbig.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They treated me like family.
They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
Well, new information on a local case that's receiving all sorts of national attention. The FBI believes a Waukesha teen accused of killing his mother and stepfather in March, then fleeing the state, may have been plotting to kill the president. 17-year-old Nikita Kassip being held on $1 million bond. We welcome in Don Mihalik, a retired senior Secret Service agent. Don, what did the FBI find that suggests Kassip was motivated to make a move on the president and overthrow the government?
So Kassip apparently has had some writings and some online presence where he's indicated his direction of interest towards President Trump and is wanting to assassinate President Trump. Some backstory is he came to the attention of the Secret Service several months ago due to this unusual direction of interest and some of his public pronouncements. The Secret Service interviewed him and identified him, but he has a clear mental health history, and he's got some psychosis issues going on. So at that point in time, prosecution was deemed not to be viable. So they, mental health was the direction that the family and the Secret Service recommended that the individual takes.
The new evidence seems to reveal weeks of preparation. What does that evidence include?
Well, the evidence includes he was plotting how he was going to get to D.C., how he was going to take out President Trump. It included writings, drawings, maps. I mean, he had a full plan in his head as well for what he was going to do. How viable it was is, of course, still an open question pending the outcome of the investigation.
And now we're learning he was talking with a student about this, possibly had a contact with somebody over in Russia. How does a kid from Wisconsin somehow end up talking to a guy from Russia about possibly assassinating the president?
Social media and the internet have become both the connectivity for everybody in the world, and it's also the bane of his existence for law enforcement, because on any chat room, social media post, dark web, you can connect with anybody anywhere and talk about anything, including how to assassinate somebody. We saw in the aftermath of the New York CEO assassination that he now has a following online of supporters who supported his murderous act in New York City. So, the internet is both a blessing and a curse, and the curse side of it is it allows people who have violent tendencies to find support and direction in some cases of how to carry out their violence.
Well, and Don, these websites are a dime a dozen. They're all over the place, unfortunately. In your experience, how does the Secret Service go about monitoring the daily activity and then figuring out, okay, here's who we really need to keep eyes on?
So a lot of that has to do with partnerships and partners, both in private industry and across both law enforcement and the intelligence industry. A lot of it falls to private industry to be monitoring their content, to be monitoring what is said, and when certain things are said or come up, to make sure that they send them to the appropriate law enforcement agency. The one area that works pretty well is for children's crimes. The private industry, the FBI, Secret Service, other agencies have a pretty robust referral mechanism for child type crimes that get referred to pretty quickly and get investigated pretty quickly. But there's so much that goes on in social media. There's so much content that goes on online. It's very difficult, even at this juncture, for both private industry and law enforcement to follow. Now with AI developing, that might be a game changer in some ways.
So this young man from Wisconsin, he's got concerning statements that we now know about. We know he had access to weapons. We're also hearing about social isolation. You're a retired senior Secret Service agent. Are those three things together a perfect storm?
Back in the late 90s, the Secret Service did a study called the Exceptional Case Study, where it looked at 37 different assassinations and assassination attempts, as well as it's done studies about schools and school shooters. All of what you've described are behavioral characteristics of all those individuals, both assassins and school shooters. Isolation, have an unusual direction of interest towards somebody, have a grievance against somebody, and that are those behavioral characteristics that put them on the path towards violence.
It's a sad story. It's a troubling story. And the fact that he was on the radar of the Secret Service and the FBI several months ago, prior to the killing of his mother and stepfather, leads you to believe they knew he was a troubled individual. My wonder is, how couldn't the parents have done a little bit more, perhaps save their own lives and try to help out their son at a time where he was most in need? We don't even get to this point. Perhaps if there's a little bit more action on the back end.
Yeah, oftentimes families are in denial in situations like this, or families try, and the individual they're dealing with is resistant to the help that they're trying to put in front of them. The bottom line is we do have a mental health crisis in this country. It's hard for law enforcement to bring somebody into court or to charge somebody with a crime who has a mental health crisis going on because, part of being able to be charged with a crime is showing competency. And if you lack that competency, you can't be charged with a crime. So if somebody has a pronounced mental health history, that won't get past court, and the case will end up being dismissed, which is why prosecutors are hesitant to bring charges against somebody with a mental health history, which is what I believe this case is.
To some people, though, did this kid from southeastern Wisconsin just seem like a normal teenager for those who did not see the warning signs? I mean, wasn't he had perfect attendance, and some people thought, he's just this everyday kid.
Which follows the pattern of almost every school shooter and every assassin, that on the outside, most people aren't paying attention to what I call the details. People are missing those little cues that are indications of behavioral characteristics where he said some stuff in class that's concerning, but he says it only once in a while. He doesn't say it all the time. He might have a couple of drawings that showed up, but the drawings weren't enough to really, they weren't every day. He was isolated, but otherwise he was a good student. Mm-hmm. These are those details and those things that often aren't picked up on or acted on. And then, but if they're not, they're allowed to grow, which is why it's so important that when all these little cues start popping, that there's a threat assessment process in place, both in schools, in private industry, and other places where you can look at these behavioral characteristics based on research and fact, put it together, and try to figure out how we can get this individual to the right place, to the right resources, so that way it can prevent what we've seen play out over the weekend.
Really interesting insight from Don Mahalik, a retired senior Secret Service agent, joining us here on Wisconsin's Midday News. Don, we appreciate your time and insight. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi, and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit LoyalFamilyRenovations.com.
Brew City is ready to celebrate the draft's return to Wisconsin. Milwaukee Tailgate Week, presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook, April 24th through the 26th. It features a variety of gridiron activations for all ages, steeped in Milwaukee's iconic sports history, its attractions, brews, pubs, restaurants, and venues. The festivities culminate on Saturday, April 26th with Jordy Nelson's Milwaukee Tailgate with Inside the Huddle Live. Buy your tickets now for only $10 and learn more at visitmilwaukee.org/tailgate.
Time for a check of the week's weather. We welcome in TMJ4 meteorologist. It's Tyler Moore. Morning, Tyler.
Morning. How's it going?
Doing well. Got out of the weekend. Pretty nice. Good day to be out and about. Kids were playing soccer and enjoying it and not having to bundle up. You never know what you're going to get in April. And we start the week off pretty good, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, out there, I was just outside a couple minutes ago. It's windy, but, 60 degrees and windy, we'll take it. Even that little bit of that sunshine coming through feels pretty good.
What should we expect later on? Because I do see, while it's lovely, and more people are sporting shorts than just like that one guy who's in shorts even when it's cold and wintry. I mean, people are moving towards the nicer weather, but I do see chances for rain and even maybe possibility of wet snowflakes in the forecast yet.
Yeah, exactly. We're in this interesting balance right now. So we had a cold front move through this morning, and you wouldn't really realize it because there wasn't any rain or anything with it. But it is slowly drawing in some colder temperatures from the west. So that's why most of this morning we've been in the 50s, and we've been slowly warming. It's kind of this balance of we're getting some sunshine to warm us up, but some of that cooler air is starting to move in. So we're going to kind of plateau here over the next couple of hours around 60. And then eventually the temperatures start to drop this evening. As the sun sets, we lose some daytime heating, and then our numbers kind of slip away this evening as those winds really pick up. We'll see gusts near 40 miles per hour right around that rush hour time frame. And then tonight our temperatures will drop into the upper 30s. So we are looking at the chance for a disturbance to drop in with those cooler temperatures. Upper 30s is kind of borderline for any snowflakes to make it down to the surface. I think most of us see some rain showers, but north of 94 there could be a couple wet snowflakes. That would mainly be after midnight into the early morning hours tomorrow. But it is a quick moving system. We'll see more sunshine by Tuesday afternoon and not too bad tomorrow afternoon, right around 50 degrees.
Temps kind of hanging around normal throughout the bulk of the week?
Yeah, right around normal, give or take a couple degrees. We're upper 40s on Wednesday. That's the coolest day, but I honestly like that day the most. Our winds will be very light throughout the day, mostly sunny skies and upper 40s, so it'll feel pretty good. Thursday into Friday, our numbers will start to jump back up. That's as another system rolls our way. That will bring a lot of 60s our way by Friday. Some of those storms could be on the stronger side. We'll have to wait and see on the exact low-pressure track, but it should bring warmer temperatures and some storm chances by later in the week. And the weekend looks pretty good, too. Temperatures in the 50s. So, yeah, right around average for most of this work week.
Tyler, we don't have time for it today, but I'm saving this for next time because I hear you have a thing for loons.
It's my favorite bird, honestly. That and a bald eagle, so we'll have to get to that some other time. But yeah, who doesn't love loons? They're so good.
Okay, Gina, may copy comply. Ask Tyler about loons next week. Okay, fair enough.
Thanks,
we
Tyler.
Appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you so much.
Hey, guys.
You
have
bet.
a good one.
57 degrees, partly sunny. Yeah, we'll go up to 60 today, but the wind is going to kick up a little bit. Be mindful of that. But all in all, decent spring day here in Milwaukee. It's 11:28.
Hey, John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care, and they do it every day with compassion and with empathy. They've got locations throughout southeast Wisconsin. I've been to the locations. I love how they treat the people who live there. They specialize in caring for those with early to late-stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. They offer early memory loss classes. Wisconsin-based and family-owned. Kindness at the core. It's Azura Living. Check them out at azuraliving.com. It's Azura.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Springtime DIY is in full bloom at Fleet Farm. 3-pound bags of Superior grass seed are on sale for just $9.99. 32-pound bags of Superior weed and feed are sale priced at $19.99. Plus, buy an M18 5-amp rechargeable battery starter kit and get a select Milwaukee Bear tool for free. In-store only. Indoor, outdoor. Handle all your DIY needs at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Monday, April 14th. Your top story. A beer giant's CEO stepping down.
I'm Jessica Tighe. A new twist in a Waukesha murder case.
Partly cloudy and breezy today, a high of 60 degrees. Possible to have some showers later on tonight, a low of 38. Those winds are really going to gust. Tuesday, a few showers early and a high of 50. It's 57 in Milwaukee.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Coming to President Trump's defense during a question and answer moment with reporters at the White House Oval Office, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Reporters asked for the status of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man deported with Venezuelan gang members weeks ago, a federal court ordering the administration to bring him back.
I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
At the White House is El Salvador's president, whose nation and its huge prison are making President Trump's deportation plan possible. Trump administration so far has not told a federal judge, as they were ordered, what's being done to get Abrego Garcia, who was wrongly deported, back to the U.S. Wall Street markets are higher, but not by much, amid uncertainty over tariffs and trade deals. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. The CEO of Molson Coors announces his retirement. Gavin Hattersley will retire at the end of the year. He'd been president and CEO for 6 years and has been in the beer industry for nearly 3 decades. The board is launching a search to identify and appoint the next chief executive officer.
A Waukesha teenager accused of killing his parents may have been plotting to assassinate President Donald Trump. 17-year-old Nikita Kasap is now accused of planning the death of his mother and stepfather as a way to fund his assassination plans. Retired Secret Service agent Don Mihalik tells WTMJ the Secret Service actually had contact with Kasap several months ago.
He popped on their radar with some of this anti-Semitic writing and some of the threats he was posting online. And he actually was interviewed by the Secret Service several months ago. Apparently his psychological state of being was determined to be the prevalent factor. So prosecution was deemed not to be the appropriate course of action.
Kasap returns to court next month. He has not yet been formally charged with plotting an assassination.
Well, nearly 40% of this year's Wisconsin school referendums were retries of referendums that had previously failed.
The report from the Wisconsin Policy Forum released on Friday indicates some of those retries were second, third, or in some cases even fourth attempts to get the referendums approved. Of the 94 referenda statewide in the recent spring election, voters passed 53. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports the most common reasons for referendums this spring included operations over time due to budget pressures such as inflation, state-imposed revenue limits, and pandemic aid disappearing. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
The annual winter moratorium on heating disconnection ends tomorrow. That means customers who have fallen behind on payments should contact their utility company. We Energy spokesperson Brendan Conway reminds customers disconnection is always a last resort.
It is a small percent of our customers who are even at risk of disconnection. So that means they're behind on their bills. And then the amount of people who would be disconnected is even much smaller than that. Those are really just people who don't reach out to us, who don't take an action.
The Wisconsin Home Energy Assistance Program is still available to help low-income households.
Celebrating all things Milwaukee today.
April 14th is 414 Day in Milwaukee, a citywide celebration of culture, pride, and community. The day features events all over, including a festival at the Deer District with live music, local food, and vendors. The Harley-Davidson Museum is offering $4.14 admission to the first 414 guests, and the Mitchell Park Domes are joining in with discounts and giveaways. It's a full day dedicated to everything that makes Milwaukee, Milwaukee. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
414, let's have one more. One more hour of the show? Maybe. Dun, 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 dun. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
What would your community be like without UW-Madison? The UW is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research. UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just in Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW5 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW5. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Frederick and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin, so there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit frederick.com/cancer.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Spring is here, and it's the perfect time for you to get an awning installed on your porch, deck, or patio just in time for the beautiful weather. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Right now, you can receive $200 off your purchase. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com to learn more.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 5-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
Hi, I'm Rose Gray with Fox World Travel, and I'm excited to share that our exclusive guided Alaska land and sea journeys are now available for 2026. We partner with Holland America Line to curate the best and most sought-after experiences to Alaska. We send hundreds of travelers from Wisconsin to Alaska every year, along with experienced Fox tour managers for peace of mind. Don't just picture Alaska, live it. We have limited spots, and these tours are booking fast. Visit Fox World Travel online or call 866 Go Fox Go.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers are back home after dropping 2 of 3 to the Diamondbacks in Arizona. Milwaukee takes on the Tigers tonight at home. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Coverage gets underway following the 6 o'clock news. NBA insider for ESPN's Shams Charania believes the Bucks are likely to have guard Damian Lillard cleared some point before the playoffs begin. The Bucks are set to begin a best-of-7 playoff series in Indianapolis against the Pacers Saturday. It's a noon tip from Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic. It is a good day out on the streets when I have to go all the way up to Winnebago County to find a significant incident. And this one is just a disabled vehicle. I do see emergency responders out there to help that one. But we've got no major crashes in the metro area, and that's good news. We'll keep our fingers crossed it stays that way.
Pretty nice day today. The wind is going to gust. However, you'll notice it might make it feel a little chillier. High of 60 degrees inland, a little cooler near the lake. Sun is shining. Some clouds starting to filter its way in. Could see a change tonight, and it's a possibility of some showers, maybe even some wet snowflakes, and a low of 38. Tomorrow, showers early, then a high of 50. 57 and partly sunny in Milwaukee at 11:38.
Two main thoughts when remodeling your home. And Greg, you've done a couple of remodeling projects at your house.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, some of it's DIY. I just kind of do it on my own, and I had a lot of things that I screwed up in my first house, so I know when I need to make a call and when I think I can handle it. That's a big lesson to learn.
Well, I think typically you think about, 1, the joy the changes will bring you, or 2, how much the changes will impact the price of your home when you sell it. The National Association of Realtors just unveiled the top remodeling projects for homeowner satisfaction and cost recovery. And here to chat about those results is Shore West Realtor Beth Jaworski. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can we discuss the joy scores first? I just think that's fun. Joy, like what brings me joy? What remodeling projects bring homeowners the most joy upon completion?
Well, according to this report, and I have to say I agree, the number 1 is an added primary bedroom suite, and I see that as a highly desirable feature from buyers and homeowners, obviously. And then kitchen upgrade, that is the heart of the home, right? The kitchen. So, and kitchens sell homes also. So
totally agree. I always think it's kitchens and then bathrooms, because the bedroom almost seems like a box that you can change easily. The
Correct.
Kitchen and the bathrooms, not as easy.
Correct.
Something else that surprised me, though, something that brings a lot of joy, new roofing. I was surprised because you need a new roof if you need a new roof, but I wouldn't think that brings so much joy.
Exactly. That surprised me also.
So cosmetic appearances are fun, right? And anything you're going to do to change sort of like the look and feel of your home is great. Roofing is not fun. That is not fun. You might get the money back on that, but it's just not a lot of fun. So we're in a relatively newer house. It's about 8 years old, and we built it. And at the time we built it, we did nothing with the basement because we thought it would be a spot for our kids to burn off steam in the winter months. They could ride their bikes down there, do whatever, which is great. And now they're getting a little older, and the need for that, it's not quite what it was 3-4 years ago. So we're looking at the idea of redoing our whole basement. Mm-hmm. And the discussion is, do we add a bedroom? and a full bath or not? And my contention is yes, because I think then you market your house, if you're talking years down the road, as you got an extra bedroom, you've got an extra bath in the house. Is there logic behind that?
There is complete logic behind that. Years ago, people did not like bedrooms down in the basement, right? Nowadays, they love them. We have more and more extended families moving in together. We have more and more work from home situations. Those extra bedrooms are highly desired, and the bathrooms are also. So that's a wise move. Just make sure you get the adequate access, to have it really qualify as a bedroom.
So talk about that. What are the key things to make sure it registers and looks like a bathroom if the house were to be listed?
Well, for the bedroom, you need the egress, and you need the proper size egress per your municipality code. And then you need a door and a closet, because a bedroom needs a door, a window, and a closet, and the egress qualifies as the window.
What do you typically recommend if somebody reaches out to you and says, we want to put the house up for sale? What are maybe 2 or 3 things that you typically say, you know what, you probably need to do this, or you want to do this to increase the value?
Well, curb appeal is number 1, and paint. Painting is your best friend when you're selling. So whether you're painting your front door or you're painting the interior, fresh paint always appeals to a buyer.
And what are homeowners in 2025 right now deciding to do as far as remodeling projects? Because a lot of people are worried about costs now. It seems like everything's going up, and now we're worried about tariffs as well. So maybe things will change, but what are you seeing right now?
Well, kitchens and baths, again, are huge. And people are doing, if they're on a budget, they're doing the minor repair, right? Fresh paint for that room, maybe with a bathroom, change out the light fixture, change out the countertop and the faucet. If you're going to sell, especially if you do a bath fitter over your shower over tub, that's very economical. You can enjoy it while you're still there, and it's going to bring great resale.
Are you hearing from people who are concerned about prices going up and what's going to happen with the economy? Do you anticipate that remodeling projects might slow in 2025? What are you hearing out there?
Well, remodeling costs just keep going up like everything else, right? Yeah. So it's interesting. I see people who need more space or consider remodeling. They will get a quote from a remodeler. That will shock them. Then they will come to me. They will say, okay, we need a bigger house. We go through everything they're looking for. They start looking at the market. That shocks them. And they boomerang back and forth. What should I do? Neither option is very appealing right now because of the cost.
So I would have to contract out somebody to do our basement. I'm not going to handle that my own. But there are projects that you can tackle that maybe aren't as daunting as you might think. As you've been around this business and grown in your level of experience, what do you see that people can do on their own? It's really not all that much work to do what in a home that you're trying to move from?
Well, to paint your kitchen cabinets, change out your hardware, kitchen and bath cabinet hardware. That will make a difference. A lot of people find it's not as hard as they think to change out, say, a countertop on a small vanity, or even attempt to change that small vanity. And, of course, painting the front door, all the landscape projects. Flooring, I would say, can go either way. I've seen homeowners attempt to put in LVP floor and it turn out well, and then not so well. Same thing with refinishing the hardwood. I almost would leave the flooring to the professional.
Okay, Beth, new numbers come out today, and I actually just in the email got some new numbers. It's a grid sheet, metro activity stats. I know at some point we'll get a summary of this, but as I take a peek at this, what are we seeing right now as far as the metro area, as far as home sales, home inventory, prices, all that good stuff?
Well, the inventory is slowly increasing, but it is still not enough to meet the demand. So we are still seeing multiple offers, still quick time on the market if the house is properly prepped and priced.
What do you think is driving that?
Well, it's, I think, just a number of simple math, right? That we have too many buyers out there. We have not built the homes. You keep hearing it, but it's true. Once the downturn came from 2010 to 2020, new construction dropped so much. We are still in that catch-up mode.
What do you find as far as I've watched actually some homes? Greg and I both like to jump on Zillow and just kind of peruse, not during work, of course, but
never. I'm on it right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. But we both talked about that. It's kind of, it's just interesting to see. But I have watched some homes There's one in particular. Actually, there's one in my condo building. It has dropped in price like 10 different times. And I just feel like that's a sign that it's overpriced. I've watched a couple homes that just sit there for so long. Is that just people who don't understand the market right now? Is that people who are just, living on that pipe dream of, at one point people were getting this money for this house and they aren't anymore? Why are we seeing that?
Well, it is the pipe dream, right? Oftentimes, the unrealistic seller will be comparing their property to another one that is not truly comparable. As a general rule of thumb, if you've had 10 to 12 showings or you've been on the market 14 to 21 days and you have not drawn an offer, you are overpriced. So, the market will tell you clearly. And so if someone sits there for a month with no adjustment, they are not motivated. They're not understanding what the market's telling them.
I've seen the tricks. I know what you're talking about, Jessica. Something that's been on the market for 120 some odd days, and all of a sudden it's gone. And then it's back at a new price with a different photo on the front. You're like, well, hey, wait a minute now.
Correct.
So you're trying to be new in the cycle, right? We've all been there. We see, well, that home is still for sale. That home is still for sale. Something must be wrong with it, right? It starts to play with your psyche. These are major decisions that people make.
Correct. And there's actually a national debate about showing days on market, because you can see on Zillow, right, the whole history of a property. So imagine if that's wiped out at some point.
There's talk about that.
Yes, there is.
I wouldn't like that. Would you, Greg?
I like the transparency of knowing.
Yeah, I like knowing too.
Correct.
It's because there's nothing cookie cutter about it. Why a home would be on the market for 200 days versus 3 days? Well, it's that sweet spot of price. How much work do I have to do? Location is important. Schools, like any one of a number of factors go into it.
I think it makes me have all these questions, which are important questions to ask. Sometimes you can look at it and say, it's just overpriced, but other times you can't. So I think, can we have a vote on that? Can the people have a vote? What's going to come to that? There's just talk about it. Will there be a vote? Will a national group make a change? How does that work?
It's more the internet portals and that. So it's not really the realtors who are controlling that. So it will be interesting. But the technique of relisting does work, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And especially if you're going to do a significant price drop, or say you're changing the house. Maybe the seller was a little resistant initially to doing anything to prep for sale. And now all of a sudden they take it off the market. They have the wallpaper taken down. They have the border carpet from 1992, right, ripped out. And so you have a whole new pictures. It's really a new product, right? And so they will come on the market as a new listing. Other times it is just a price adjustment and trying to play the market. You get in front of everybody again.
Great insight. That's Shore West Realtor Beth Jaworski. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you.
She brought us joy today,
That's great
giving
stuff.
us that insight.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 11:48.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scafidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds, reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely, and I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
I came in over 10 years ago and I couldn't breathe ever. And ever since then, now I can breathe.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventNose.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your AccuNet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
I've got a fantastic trip that I'm planning right now. I'd love for you to be with us. It's America's Music Cities for the holidays. It's early December. It's an 8-day tour of some great spots. New Orleans, Memphis, and Nashville. Check out New Orleans, the vibrant French Quarter, all decked out for the holidays. Then we're on to the amazing city of Memphis, Elvis Presley's Graceland. It is going to look absolutely fantastic. On to Nashville, we make chocolate, take a horse-drawn carriage ride, and we stay at the magical Opryland Resort. It's with Colette, the travel company I trust. We'll handle all the details for you, flights, meals, hotels, local experiences. I'm going to be there. I want you to be with us. Send me an email. I send you the information. John@WTMJ.com. John@WTMJ.com. Space is limited. We'll discover America's musical legacy wrapped in dazzling lights and seasonal decor. Let me get you the info. I'd love for you to be with us. John, JOHN, at WTMJ.com. It's America's Music Cities with Colette, the travel company I trust.
Well, it's going to be breezy today. You'll see plenty of sunshine. Temperatures up around 60 degrees or so. It's going to drop later this evening, however, down to 38. It's going to feel very chilly with that wind. You might even see some rain and some snow flurries overnight. Once we get into Tuesday, lingering showers and a high of 50 degrees. It is 58 and mostly sunny in Milwaukee at 11:52. Wisconsin's Midday News podcast is built by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more. Text the word Midday to 855-616-1620, and we'll get you all that information sent back to your mobile device. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find Wisconsin's Midday News, which is expanding to 3 hours. So breaking news here for those of you who listen, and we thank you for doing it. In the 11 o'clock hour, we're moving from 12
We're
to
expanding.
3. From 12 to 3, beginning Thursday of this week, Wisconsin's Midday News goes from 11 to 1 to 12 to 3.
12 to 3. It's a change. So just a heads up, we wanted to make sure you knew. And remember earlier, it's Milwaukee Day, 414. There's a little chant, 414, let's have some more.
Well, we got
or
some
let's
more.
have one more.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get one more hour of the show coming up.
Yeah, so it's part of a tweaked lineup. The morning show is going to go an extra hour till 10 o'clock. Steve Scafidi and Kristen Breyer teaming up to do a 2-hour show called Point Taken. That is new.
I like the name of that.
They've done some podcasting over the last several months, and a really interesting, very different people, different backgrounds, different everything. And I think that's why they work together well on the radio.
Point taken.
There you go. And then it's us, followed by Wisconsin's Afternoon News. No change there. They'll still be on from 3 to 6. So, but I'm looking forward to the change. So 12 to 3, Wisconsin's Afternoon News, an extra hour of Jessica, an extra hour of Gina's brilliant work. I'm sorry you're going to be stuck with me for another hour.
Greg. We love it.
Apologize for that in advance. So looking forward to the change. Really no changes to the show, how we do it, the dynamic of the show, what we cover. I think what we do in 2 hours sometimes feels like we need a third hour or fourth hour at times. So we get to expand a little bit on some of the stuff we're talking about.
And maybe this is a good opportunity for those of you who listen every day to let us know, what do you love? What do you want more of? Or is there a certain segment? We're kind of brainstorming some things. So is there a segment that you'd like to see that we don't have? Let us know.
Yeah, no, that's really good insight. And the show's only about a year old, so the fact that we're expanding is, I think, a great sign. And we have so many great guests that will be coming with us. So if you're liking the segments we do for Tech Tuesday and with our friends Joel Brennan and Tim Sheehy, Dr. Weston, right, Adam McKelvey, Jason Wilde, right, everybody's moving with us. Maybe a different time slot for some of those folks, but you can expect some of the same voices you've been hearing over the last year or so.
I love that they're all on board. They're coming with.
Yeah, noon to 3 beginning Thursday here on WTMJ, the new Wisconsin's Midday News. It's 11:55. We'll have headlines coming up after this.
Brewers baseball is the sound of summer in Milwaukee. And now you can catch the Brewers on local TV for select Tuesday night games.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she
It's
goes!
Brew Crew Tuesdays. On April 15th, the Crew take on the Detroit Tigers at 6:40 p.m.
Swing. He went. Another strikeout for Freddie Peralta.
This Crew Tuesday is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. See the action on Fox 6 in Milwaukee and check your local listings for where you can watch over the air statewide on April 15th.
Filet mignon isn't as cheap as chopped steak, and you can't buy a yacht for the same price as a dinghy. But while they last, you can buy high-end Beautyrest Black and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hasseless Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models. These are the best of the best, and now you can get them for way less. Like a Beautyrest Black LX Hybrid was $3,599, but now it's just $971. Or a Sealy Posturepedic Golden Acres Pillow Top was $1,093, but the floor model is just $546. Visit any employee-free, hassleless showroom and test your favorite floor model without salespeople breathing down your neck. You won't find these mattresses priced this low anywhere else. It's like buying a Lamborghini for $10,000 just because it sat on the showroom floor. Only a few floor models are available at each Hasseless mattress location, and when they're gone for good. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasseless.com.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and H&R benefits consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
So he said to me, boy, oh boy, do you got the boulders. And I said, you betcha. And he said, do you mind if I cherry pick? And I said, feel free. They're all beautiful and they're all granite. Flagstone for your new natural patio, Erickson's is the place to find it. We have the largest selection and 15 styles to choose from. And for decorative stone, Erickson's is your best choice. Our decorative stone is trucked in from all over the country. We buy straight from the quarry and cut out the middleman to keep your prices nice and low. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. Happy New Year. How's business? Do you really know? We recently worked with several clients who thought they knew, but didn't because their books were not in order. Imagine thinking you were making $1 million, but because your books are a mess, you were really only making $200,000. Quite a difference. Imagine finding out expenses were not properly recorded or sales were double recorded. If these happen to you, we can help. We work with our clients to clean up their books and give them the information they need to know where their business is now and where it is going in the future. Don't wait. Start on the path to less stress, more cash in your pocket, and no more sleepless nights. Call us at 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net today to book a meeting. We can talk over Zoom, the phone, in our office, or your place of business. Yes, we like to visit our business clients. Don't wait any longer. Call 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net.
Built Right, one location saves you money.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
American Family Field turns into a jungle as the Brewers take on the Tigers.
Hit in the air into right field with some carry. Back on it is Bean. He's under the track. He's feeling for the wall. It's sailing. It is gone.
Our coverage starts tonight at 6:05 on your home for the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Coming up on 12 o'clock, I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Monday, April 14th. Your top story, another head of state visits the White House.
I'm Jessica Tighe. A misconduct investigation in Sheboygan.
Partly cloudy and breezy today, a high of 60 degrees. Breezy tonight. Might see some showers later on in the evening. Some wet snowflakes are possible. A low of 38 degrees. A few showers early on Tuesday, then afternoon sun, breezy, and a high of 50. It's 58 and sunny at 12 o'clock. From the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, President Trump hosting the president of El Salvador at the White House this afternoon as the small Central American nation becomes a critical linchpin of the United States administration's mass deportation operation. The president says he was delighted that El Salvador is stepping up to help fight against illegal immigration.
We're a great country, but we had stupid people running this country, and I can say it. But what they've done to us at the border should never and can never be forgotten.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is calling for the administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland resident and Salvadorian citizen who had an immigration court order preventing his deportation to his native country over fears of gang persecution.
Here at home, a bus driver with the Milwaukee County Transit System is in the hospital after a crash in Oak Creek. The crash happened near Howling College. No passengers were on the bus. The cause of the crash is being investigated.
The CEO of Molson Coors announces his retirement. Gavin Hattersley will step down at the end of the year. He'd been president and CEO for 6 years. He's also been in the beer industry for about 3 decades. The board is launching a search to identify and appoint its next CEO.
The long-serving city attorney of Sheboygan retires just days after the Common Council submitted a criminal misconduct report. Investigators say Charles Adams searched an email archiving system and pulled up sensitive citywide emails. Mayor Ryan Sorensen on NBC 26.
I think the issue was overusage and, really going out of the scope of what the intended purpose was for this program. I think a lot of the documents that are out there do speak for themselves.
Sheboygan County District Attorney Joel Ormansky says no criminal violation took place. The city is now conducting a separate investigation regarding policy, employee handbook, and ethics violations.
Now, it could be a critical week for the Menendez brothers as they work to get out of prison 35 years after they shotgunned their parents to death at a Beverly Hills mansion.
Later this week, the Menendez brothers will make their argument to a judge for their release. They claim they've been rehabilitated and should get out of prison. Last week, their family members were angered during a hearing when prosecutors showed gruesome crime scene photos. A family claiming the shock over those photos sent the brothers' 85-year-old aunt to a hospital critically ill. Her daughter saying,
"She is not well."
LA's new DA is fighting their release, saying they have not admitted to years of lies about the murders. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green for now. The Dow is currently up about 125 points at 40,333. The Nasdaq up about 23 points at 16,747. S&P 500 up about 20 today at 1934. Decent day for the tech stocks. Apple is up nearly 5 points, trading at just over $203 a share. Google up a point at 160 and change.
And some breaking news just coming in. Maribeth Witzel-Bell has resigned from her position as City of Madison clerk. Witzel-Bell was first appointed to that position back in 2006. She administered more than 60 elections as clerk. Once again, this is breaking news just coming in from the City of Madison. City Attorney Michael Haas will continue to serve as acting clerk while a national search is conducted to find a permanent replacement.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 12:03.
It's our lowest prices of the season, in-store and online at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Right now, shop the season's best values on supplies to make projects your own. Like estate crabgrass preventer or weed and feed, $29.99. Rewards members pay just $24.99. Top choice all-purpose grass seed, $36.99. Save 20% on assorted Hillman hardware, and select Valspar interior paint starts at $27.99 a gallon. Don't miss our lowest prices of the season, only at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano talking with Dr. Mike Nolte at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Doc, a lot of people are hesitant to visit a surgeon for spine care.
The good news is that the vast majority of patients that I see and the majority of conditions that I can see can be successfully treated without surgery. And I don't want patients to think that just because you're seeing a spine surgeon means that you're going to be signing up for surgery. We talk about, in my clinic, kind of a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. OrthoWisconsin.com.
Burkhardt Sporting Goods in New Berlin is the baseball lover's destination with a massive state-of-the-art indoor training facility featuring hit tracks with precision analytics, a huge open turf area, and all the best training equipment you need. So get in here and get ready to get better. And we'll help you with this special offer. Buy 20 batting cage credits for $30. That's 25% off. This is Brian Burkhardt, and if you love baseball and softball like we do, you can't beat Burkhardt. 153rd and National. If you plan on draining buzzer beaters, the place to start is Burkhardt, where you'll find a great selection of residential basketball hoops from the best brand, Goalrilla. We'll handle the installation and take care of everything to make it easy from start to finish. And right now, when you buy from Burkhart, standard hoop installation is half price. You can't beat that. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love basketball like we do,
You can't beat Burkhart.
New Berlin and Fox Point.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. NBA insider Shams Charania reporting the Bucks are optimistic All-Star guard Damian Lillard will be cleared for play before the playoffs begin. Game 1 of the Bucks' best-of-7 series against the Pacers tips off at noon on Saturday. Doc Rivers' Bucks enter the postseason having won 8 straight.
I do think we have great confidence in each other. Our guys, they like what we're doing. We have a lot of confidence, and I think that's the key going into the playoffs.
After dropping 2 of 3 against the Diamondbacks in Arizona, the Brewers return home for the first of 3 against the Tigers tonight. You'll hear coverage starting at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. Brewers starter Brandon Woodruff scheduled to make his second rehab start on Thursday.
Let's get you an update on the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Earlier, I was saying what a great day out on our roads because we have no crashes right now, no disabled vehicles causing any significant slowing. In fact, I had to go all the way up to Winnebago County to find anything, any sort of incident, and it was a disabled vehicle. And right now, before I came to you, I just checked the cameras and whoop, off went that disabled vehicle. Tow truck was just taking it away. So even that one disabled vehicle in Winnebago County, now gone. Looking good.
Partly cloudy and breezy today, mostly cloudy tonight. Few showers late, might see some wet snowflakes as well, low of 38 degrees. Some lingering showers in the morning on Tuesday, then a high of 50. Sunny on Wednesday, a high of 49. Chance for some storms on Thursday with a high of 57. Rain likely on Friday with a high of 65. 59, the sun is out in Milwaukee at 12:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
So if you're listening to us at this time on Monday of next week, we will just be beginning the show. We will just be beginning the show.
This will be the start.
This will be the start because Wisconsin's Midday News is shifting a little bit. Instead of 11 to 1, beginning Thursday of this week, we go noon to 3. So make copy comply. We'll be switching things up a little bit.
You get more midday. How about that?
We get more. Well, I think that's great for people who love and adore you and the work done by Gina. I apologize. I'm dragging the ship along.
Get out of here.
But looking forward to having more time to talk about some of the stuff that we find interesting on a given day. And we'll have more time to do that beginning Thursday of this week.
And a ton of big stories today.
No doubt. It's 12:08.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
The ladies who launched into space this morning are back on Earth.
Congratulations.
The 6 women, including news anchor Gayle King and pop star Katy Perry, have returned from space following their out-of-this-world ride. It was a quick one, 11 minutes on board the commercial SpaceJet Blue Origin rocket. In fact, if you were watching, you might have said, oh, wow, that was it? It went like that. The liftoff marked the first all-female spaceflight since 1963.
Mach 1, vehicle is supersonic.
Yeah, supersonic. Definitely a day for the history books. Now that the ladies are back down on the ground, they're talking about their experience. Here's how Gayle King described it.
It's oddly quiet when you get up there. It's really quiet and peaceful. And you look down at the planet and you think, that's where we came from?
Wow, can you imagine that? Just looking down.
That is crazy. It's crazy.
It's quiet. It was quiet until all the ladies were yelling because it almost sounded like a roller coaster at some point.
Right.
You had, woo! Which made it fun. And for a moment, I felt like I was missing out not being up there with them.
Wait, so why was Katy Perry on the thing?
She was going to sing a little song when she got up there.
Well, she did. What did she sing? What a Wonderful World, I think. Louis Armstrong hit.
She did not sing Firework.
Well,
I know
she should have. That would have been more appropriate.
Lauren Sanchez, the fiance of founder Jeff Bezos, was also on board. She's actually the one that kind of coordinated this group. It was really interesting to watch, too, because you had Oprah. You know, Oprah and Gayle, they're like they're best buds. So Oprah was down there and she was so nervous and kind of, put her hands up to her face, and then she had tears in her eyes and she was so proud. I mean, it was quite the sight.
So where does it go from here is always my question. Could it be that someday in the not too distant future, You and 4 of your best friends have this opportunity. You want to do the space thing today?
Definitely.
Yeah, no, we
I
can
think
do that.
so. I think if you've got the money to pay to go up there, yep, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Number 2, the alleged arsonist suspected of setting fire to the Pennsylvania's governor's residence is a self-described expert mechanic with a beef against politicians, according to his social media posts. 38-year-old Cody Ballmer hospitalized. He's awaiting arraignment after confessing to the crime at the home of Governor Josh Shapiro. ABC's Aaron Katursky is in Harrisburg.
He was able to hop the fence here at the governor's mansion, broke windows, and threw a Molotov cocktail. He then ran inside the governor's mansion, police said, threw another Molotov cocktail. Both of them he made from Heineken beer bottles and gasoline that he took from his lawnmower, according to court records. Hightailed it out of here, turned himself in when he apparently confessed to an ex-girlfriend who made him go to the police.
Well, a wild story here. Shapiro, his wife, and 2 children escaped. They were unharmed. The home is severely damaged, however. Ballmer charged with attempted murder, aggravated arson, burglary, terrorism, and other things.
Disturbing new accusations now about a Waukesha teenager. 17-year-old Nikita Kassup is already charged in the death of his parents. Now, a recently unsealed federal warrant accuses him of killing his parents as part of a bigger plot to assassinate the president and overthrow the government. We're also learning Kassup may have had help carrying out his plan.
Well, federal affidavits say that Kassup was in contact with others who appear to have been aware of his plan and actions and also provided assistance. This including a couple of people overseas, as well as another person who Kassup allegedly told that he was going to go on a spree of violence.
Prosecutors allege Kassup had ties to extremist groups with neo-Nazi views.
It's 12:12 on WTMJ. We get our weekly update with our friend Tim Sheehy, senior advisor to the MMAC. All those taxes you pay here to live in Milwaukee County and beyond, where does it all go? We'll talk to Tim after this.
You know the voice.
Fly ball, right field, out of here!
You know the iconic calls.
Fly ball, deep right! Back to back!
You know he's our Brewers 360 guest on Wisconsin's Morning News. Every Wednesday at 8:45, it's Brewers broadcaster Jeff Levering. Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Helping people and families seriously injured in accidents and standing up for victims to take the burden off their shoulders. Greg Matzek here. I want to tell you about Gruber Law Offices. It really is a one call, that's all, solution for you. If you've been hurt in an accident, you make a call to Gruber. Let them focus on the legal aspect while you focus on healing. With results that speak for themselves, Gruber's been serving the people in the state of Wisconsin for 40 years, giving back to the community, all very important here for this family-run business. Matter of fact, I saw David and his son Stephen in our offices today. Always good to see the both of them. Locally known and nationally recognized, it is gruber-law.com. Learn more about this family-run business in addition to what they do in the community. Or give them a call at 414-276-6666.
Cheese doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. 4-door hatchback.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but a car's not one of them. That national online company makes it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online, plus test drive the vehicle before you buy it. And they're right here to handle any issues.
But the car's stuck. No!
Start your search at adamm.com.
I'm here to help. This is your WTMJ Fix-It Show host, David Nason, with expert advice for our listeners. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, or cracks in your basement, it's time to call my trusted friends at Accurate Basement Repair. And you know what? You'll get a free expert evaluation on me. You just tell them David Nason, the Fix-It guy, told me to call. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. And again, that's Accurate Basement Repair, 414-744-6900 or accuratebasementrepair.com.
Breezy conditions today, a high of 60 degrees. Plenty of sun right now in Milwaukee. Going to have some clouds later on tonight and a chance of some rain, maybe some sprinkles of snow as well. Yeah, I said it. Low of 38 degrees. Tomorrow's high just 50. Some lingering morning rain is possible.
Snowflakes.
Snowflakes?
Yeah.
Sprinkles of snow?
Snowflakes. It's better than snow.
Well, it's just kind of wet, heavy stuff.
At this point, I like snow, but right now,
falls,
snowflakes.
It ain't sticking. Whatever's falling's not sticking. Thankfully, it's warm enough on the ground. 59 right now in Milwaukee. Sunny conditions at 12:15. Here's our own little ray of sunshine. He joins us every Monday in the studio. Fine, loyal, tax-paying American Tim Sheehy on this day before tax day. Hi, Tim.
Everybody loves to pay their taxes.
Everybody does.
Gotta do it.
I thought you'd want to lean in more to 414 Day being Milwaukee Day, but now we skipped ahead to talk about tax time. And
that's a good point.
What it means here for the state and the city here. A dreaded day for some. Some people are going to get a return. Some have already received their refund. Where do the taxes go? In the country? I think about locally. I pay all these taxes. Where does it end up?
Yeah. So if you think about where taxes go, about 75% of where the money is spent on 5 items. And this is why it's always difficult when you talk about cutting spending. Well, where are you going to cut? So Social Security is like 22%, and then interest on what we've borrowed is the next largest expenditure at 14%. And then you look at Medicare, you look at defense spending, and you add up the top 5. That's about 75% of what the government spends. So it's always challenging when we talk about, not that there aren't areas to cut, but those are the major places. I think the scariest thing for me is that now interest on what we've borrowed is the second largest place we're spending money.
Who pays the bulk of taxes here in the U.S., and what does that say about our tax system?
Yeah, it's a really good question. If you think about it, let's start with a positive, right? The average refund is about $3,000. But the way to look at taxes is how much does a certain group of Americans make and what percentage of what they're making do they pay in taxes, right? So you want to balance those two out. If you had an even system, if it's more progressive, the more you make, the more you're going to pay. And so one way to look at this is there are 165 million people that paid taxes last year. They paid about $2.1 trillion of taxes. So here's to get to my point, what I'm talking about. If you're in the top 1% of tax filers, means you've had income over $787,000. Nobody's crying for you, right? That's a pretty good income.
Yeah.
But those folks accounted for 22% of adjusted gross income, all right? But they paid 46% of the taxes. So it shows you it's much more progressive. Even though they account for a large chunk of earnings in the U.S., they pay a big chunk of taxes. Another way to look at this is the top 50% of tax filers pay 98% of the taxes in the U.S. So again, I'm not making a judgment about it. We just have a very progressive system.
It is interesting to pay attention to, and sometimes you hear those stories about how some CEO rolls in the millions of dollars, but they pay so little on their taxes because they found a way to structure their salary in a manner that you look at their taxable income, and it's like, well, wait a minute, how did their taxable income end up so low?
Right.
But their overall earnings is so high.
Yeah, and I think that's harder for individuals to do. You do hear it about companies, like large companies who may reduce the tax bills. But I think by and large, Americans, especially wealthy Americans, pay. Now, they have a big percentage of total income in the U.S., but they pay more of that towards taxes, and that's probably a good thing.
I've got to ask you, just to get an update on this, the whiplash with the tariffs, the tit-for-tat tariffs, however you want to say it. What's your latest take on the impact here in the metro Milwaukee area and for Wisconsin businesses?
Yeah, I just took my neck brace off to come down here for this show.
Right.
Because whiplash is exactly the right word. And, everybody wants to see jobs move back to the U.S., but that's a long-term bet. And if you really think about Wisconsin, we export about $23 billion of goods a year. The first place we export to is Canada. The second place is Mexico. The third place is the European Union. And the fourth place is China. Those are all places where tariffs are in play. So it really impacts selling motorcycles to Europe. It impacts GE and where they sell their healthcare equipment. It affects Komatsu and where they sell their mining equipment. So all these companies are in the world of uncertainty right now, trying to figure out how they're going to navigate the next couple months.
Well, that's the strange part, right? Because every day, every hour, there's something new, right? Blanket tariffs, no more blanket tariffs. Exemptions for this, we're going to pause this. If you're a company, you may not be in a position to not react quickly. You may have to, right? The Apples and Googles of the world, they'll be fine. But small businesses are struggling.
Yeah, no, the small businesses are struggling because they're part of a supply chain, and it becomes a nightmare in part to figure out who to tariff and what the tariff is. The other thing that gets missed in this discussion is we're talking about goods that are made. The U.S. is a huge exporter of services, and we're not even talking about that. MasterCard makes 70% of its money outside the U.S. If you follow that up, Netflix makes almost 60% of their money outside the U.S. So there's a whole industry here that's not even affected by tariffs yet, which could be.
We've talked about so much in regards to the impact on the tariffs, and one thing we hadn't talked about just yet that I heard over the weekend on national news was prescription drugs. And when it comes to generics, how many of those we're getting from China? And I thought, oh gosh, because you have so many people who they cannot miss taking their prescription drugs.
Right. And again, I think of all the countries we're doing tariff battles with, China is one we really got to think thoughtfully about because of the challenges of how much comes from China here, but also, to be blunt about it, how much China rips off from the U.S. in terms of intellectual property and other issues. And I just saw today now they're going to freeze their export of rare earths, which affects almost everything that the U.S. makes. So, that's a real battle, a real arm wrestle I hope gets resolved sooner than later.
Yeah, talk about magnets, semiconductors, right? I mean, these are big deal to the United States.
Aircraft,
yes.
Airplanes, ships, yeah.
As you talk to local business owners, Tim, are you seeing varying strategies with some who say, we're just going to ride this out? This is our business. We have no choice. We're going to ride it out. We think we'll be okay on the other end, versus some who say, I don't know how I'm going to afford to pay my people because of what I'm already experiencing.
Yeah, here's the rule of thumb with most companies, right? They'll accept good news. They love good news. They can deal with bad news. The worst place to put them is where there's uncertainty. And to your point, this uncertainty just freezes everybody's capital spending. It freezes their hiring. I've heard some companies say that the tariffs could potentially wipe out their entire U.S. profit for the year. And so, why don't you go push those costs onto your customers or onto consumers? And their fear is that's just going to, that'll create a backlash, and about the time they implement it, something will change. So the world of uncertainty is the worst world for business to operate in.
Okay, something you just said earlier gave me a visual. Arm wrestle. What if we had President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping? Who's winning in the arm wrestle?
Very good question.
It's a very good question. Now, Trump just came off a very good health report from his doctor.
He did, right.
So it didn't say anything about his arm strength, but that would sell a lot of tickets. Maybe we'd solve the debt that way.
Yeah. I bet somebody would pay for that ticket. Yeah, I don't know about Xi Jinping's health, but I'm going to look it up right now.
Fair enough. Always great information. Always great to connect with Tim Xi. He's Senior Advisor to the MMAC. We appreciate it, Tim. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
Thanks,
welcome.
Tim.
1223 on WTMJ.
It's time for you and that diamond to come alive again.
At the 4th Annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Even if you have a good ultrasonic jewelry cleaner, it can't match the pressurized steam cleaning we do at Kessler's.
Let us steam clean and polish your engagement ring.
For free.
I'm Joe Gerke, president of Kessler's, and we want to strip away all the soap scum that is making your diamond look dull.
For free. And while we're doing it, we'll inspect the prongs on your ring to make sure your diamond isn't about to fall out.
It's the 4th Annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Here's another idea. Bring us anything you own that needs to be repaired, and we'll give you a price to make it like new again.
And if you have some old jewelry you don't wear anymore,
we can make something unique and wonderful out of it.
Unique in all the world.
Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, visit Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Well, shine on, you crazy diamond, huh? I was trying to explain to my kids what Pink Floyd is the other day. I had it on, it was in the car. There's certain Pink Floyd songs you hear, and you just get entranced. Everything is so hypnotic, right?
Shine on, you crazy diamond.
Darn right. That was
one
of the songs we talked about. So I had to explain to my kids what Pink Floyd was over the weekend. Hey, now you can experience what a Floyd show is really like. this is pretty amazing stuff. The June 1st show, it is coming. There's 2 shows, as a matter of fact, at the Riverside Theater. We've got tickets for the June 1st show. It's the iconic Brit Floyd. And yes, it is a kind of a knockoff band, if you will, of the original, but they bring all of the sights and sounds and feels of a Pink Floyd show to you, and it's at the Riverside, so a great location for this show. Celebrate 50 years of Wish You Were Here, an incredible album. It'll be played in full. You'll hear some other classics as well. Floyd tracks bring Brit Floyd to you at the Riverside Theater. 2 shows, Friday, May 31st and Saturday, June 1st at the Riverside. The Wish You Were Here album and Pink Floyd's Brit Floyd rendition. Tickets on sale now at the Pabst Theater Group, but we've got a pair of tickets to give away right now, a pair of tickets right now at 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Here's the deal. Gina, I'm going to make sure whoever wins, you have to name a Pink Floyd song to Gina on the phone, and we're going to trust that Gina knows.
Wait, are those in the rules? I mean, I think it's a great idea, but
kind of made
you know
up.
how they have all those rules. Greg's breaking the rules.
Just name a Pink Floyd song. And you will, if you're caller number 5, earn the tickets. 855-616-1620. Should be a great show. It's Brit Floyd at the Riverside, June 1st.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Siding is what pops on your home. Clean lines, beautiful accents, and wonderful colors can make your home really look amazing. Homeowners are always looking to add curb appeal when buying new siding, and a well-installed product from Siding Unlimited will definitely deliver a grand appeal. There is so much more to gain from replacing your siding other than the curb appeal you're already seeking. There is so much value in having new siding with low maintenance. Just an annual cleaning with the hose is all you really need to do. You can't get much lower maintenance than that. The process of replacing siding gives homeowners a fresh start, a new understanding knowing that we can peel back the old stuff and get a real in-depth inspection on the walls on your home and the structural integrity. How has the home performed over the past 20 years? We'll see it all when removing the old siding. There's a high percentage your home is missing the most important factor in siding a home, and that's a working water barrier. Many homes built in the 1990s and prior don't have a water barrier beneath the siding, and homes that were built in the 90s that do have one probably have a water barrier that was installed incorrectly. New siding replacement assures us that we install the water barrier correctly and protect the home moving forward. Our process always includes adding insulation board to the wall. This gives you a water barrier underlayment and additional R value, which is an energy coefficient, so warmer walls, adding more value to the project than the expected curb appeal. As the new siding goes back on, we know your home will be ready to manage water well into the future and look amazing doing so.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for siding and also replacement windows, roofing, and decks. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Harley-Davidson board member's resignation drawing attention for its concern over the future of the company.
Eric Bilstad.
China now accusing the U.S. of economic bullying while it raises tariffs on American goods.
And traffic with Debbie Loziga.
We've got 43 northbound completely closed at North Avenue because of a crash.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
Approaching 12:30, I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Monday, April 14th. Your top story, a clerk resigns in Madison.
I'm Jessica Tighe. New disturbing allegations against a Waukesha teenager.
Keep an eye on the weather today. Right now, pretty decent outside. Breezy, partly cloudy, and a high of 60 degrees. But the wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour today, and that'll continue into the evening hours under mostly cloudy skies. Breezy, a few showers late. Might even get some wet snowflakes, a low of 38. Tomorrow looks okay. A morning start is going to be a little bit more on the rough side, cloudy with a chance of some showers. Afternoon sun expected, and a high of 50. It's 59 and sunny in Milwaukee at 12:30.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. High-powered standoff, more open disagreement, and so far non-compliance with a federal court order backed by a unanimous Supreme Court to get a man wrongfully deported to an El Salvador prison returned to the U.S. It was correct to deport him, says White House advisors Stephen Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. A flat-out no from El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, while in the Oval Office today with President Trump, when a reporter asked about it.
Suppose you're not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it.
The government's offered the courts no evidence that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a gang member, terrorist, or criminal of any sort. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us.
This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 12:31. From the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, I'm Greg Matzek. The city of Madison will be looking for a new city clerk. Mary Beth Witzel-Bell has resigned from the position which she was appointed to in 2006. It happened just moments ago. Witzel-Bell on administrative leave after the city of Madison investigated around 200 uncounted absentee ballots during the November election. City Attorney Michael Haas will take the role of acting city clerk while also serving as Madison's city attorney.
The CEO of Molson Coors announces his retirement. Gavin Hattersley will retire at the end of the year. Hattersley has been president and CEO for 6 years, but he's been in the beer industry for nearly 3 decades. The board is now launching a search to identify and appoint the next CEO.
A Waukesha teen accused of murdering his parents may have had larger plans, including the assassination of President Donald Trump. An FBI search of 17-year-old Nikita Kasop's phone found a self-described manifesto regarding assassinating the president, making bombs, and other terrorist attacks. ABC's Donna Halick tells WTMJ it's too early to tell how serious of a threat truly existed to the president.
Any threat is taken extremely seriously and has to be vetted and handled. As we saw with the Pennsylvania governor's attack over the weekend, threats against President Trump and other elected officials are spiking these days due to a lot of division within our political sphere.
Kasop has not been federally charged yet. He returns to court in May.
A new report finds nearly 40% of this year's Wisconsin school referendums were retries of referendums that previously failed.
The report from the Wisconsin Policy Forum released on Friday indicates some of those retries were second, third, or in some cases even fourth attempts to get the referendums approved. Of the 94 referenda statewide in the recent spring election, voters passed 53. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports the most common reasons for referendums this spring included operations over time due to budget pressures such as inflation, state-imposed revenue limits, and pandemic aid disappearing. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
The annual winter moratorium on heating disconnection ends tomorrow. That means customers who have fallen behind on payment should contact their utility company. We Energy's spokesperson Brendan Conway reminds customers disconnection is always a last resort.
It is a small percent of our customers who are even at risk of disconnection. So that means they're behind on their bills. And then the amount of people who would be disconnected is even much smaller than that. Those are really just people who don't reach out to us, who don't take an action.
The Wisconsin Home Energy Assistance Program is still available to help low-income households.
Today is 414 Day, or Milwaukee Day.
Named after the area code, the day brings events all across the city. This includes a festival at the Deer District with live music, food trucks, and local vendors. The Harley-Davidson Museum is offering $4.14 admission for early guests, and Mitchell Park Domes are getting in on the fun with deals and giveaways. From neighborhood pop-ups to family-friendly activities, it's a day that highlights everything Milwaukee has to offer. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
Will the Bucks have Dame back for the postseason? We'll get an update. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
Enjoy a free dinner this week at the historic Fox and Hounds, one of the most unique and affordable supper clubs in Wisconsin. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds, one of my very favorite places. You will enjoy fabulous food and 90 years of history in the gorgeous stone and timber building. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free every single night, free. Seafood, choice steaks, short ribs, a real favorite, pasta, prime rib Wednesday and Saturday, even the steak and lobster. Your second dinner is always free. Desserts and ice cream drinks. Buy one, get one free. I love that chocolate cake with the extra ice cream. Unwind with an old-fashioned, a Manhattan, 20 bourbons to choose from, 100 wines from around the world. Wherever you live, it's worth the spectacular drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest for your free dinner. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill. Escape from your kitchen with a free dinner this week. Man, that sounds great. Call and reserve. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All sports desk. Well, the regular season is over for the Milwaukee Bucks. They've won 8 straight heading into their playoff series against the Pacers. Will they have Bucks guard Damian Lillard? Well, ESPN's Shams Charania is reporting that the Bucks are expecting good news and that Lillard will be cleared before Saturday's first game. Doc Rivers on the state of his team going into the postseason.
I do think we have great confidence in each other. Our guys, they like what we're doing. We have a lot of confidence, and I think that's the key going into the playoffs.
After dropping 2 of 3 against the Diamondbacks in Arizona, the Brewers are back home for the first of 3 games against the Tigers. Coverage of tonight's game begins following the 6 o'clock news. And a successful start for Brandon Woodruff at the minor league level over the weekend. He'll make a second rehab start on Thursday of this week.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic. There's not much to check out. That's good news. No crashes, no disabled vehicles that are causing issues. It is a fantastic day so far, at least the afternoon. We'll keep our fingers crossed it stays that way.
Good driving conditions, partly cloudy and breezy, a high of 60 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight, breezy. There will be some showers later on expected, not widespread, kind of all over the place. You might even see some wet snowflakes as opposed to the dry ones. Low of 38 degrees, a few showers early on Tuesday, then some afternoon sun, breezy conditions, and a high of 50. Wednesday's high, 49. Thursday, partly cloudy with a chance of showers, and a high of 57. 59 degrees, and mostly sunny in Milwaukee at 12:38.
It was an up-down trip that lasted less than 15 minutes, but 6 women have made history by becoming the first multiple astronaut, all-female crew to go up in space. Did you watch it this morning? CBS News correspondent Peter King reports.
I'm Peter King. CBS Morning's Gail King has been to space, but when it comes to calling her an astronaut, she says, don't.
Still can't accept that word.
She tells a Blue Origin interviewer she was afraid going in, but everything went as the flight instructor said it would. And she was surprised by this.
It's oddly quiet when you get up there. It's really quiet and peaceful. And you look down at the planet and you think, that's where we came from? And to me, it's such a reminder about how we need to do better, be better.
Peter King, CBS News.
It sounds like such a peaceful moment for that one time where everybody's silent. It's so quiet, and you're just looking down at the Earth. But it kind of was fun up in that capsule as well, because the ladies were yelling. At one point, it sounded like they were on a roller coaster. They're like, woo!
You want to talk about a new experience. Now, again, not astronauts, right? I mean, you're talking about the Amazon CEO and founder's wife. You're talking about Katy Perry,
Some people
right?
are calling them astronauts now, though. And as Gail said, she's like, yeah, I can't really feel that way. But yeah, they were up there now.
Person who has been to space, does that fit under the term of astronaut? I don't know. I still see it as pop music's Katy Perry. I mean, it kind of looked like the Real Housewives of insert name here going up in the space capsule. But nonetheless, they did it. And it's never been done before. And it just opens my mind to what the future holds, because you're going to have a group of guys that do this. You're going to have a group of African Americans that do this. You're going to have families that end up doing this before too long. It's going to become more common, I have to imagine. So this is sort of a groundbreaking and historic day in that regard.
It is history. I will say that liftoff marked the first all-female space flight since 1963. And so some people will be like, okay, well, where does 1963 come in? Well, there was one flight with a woman, and she was the only person on that flight. And that was back in 1963. So this is the first one with more than one lady on. But yep, you had the 6 ladies, up they went, and it did it. It happened so quickly. I mean, there were a lot of people who were like watching and saying, what? It's done? That's it? I mean, really, I thought they were going to be up there for about 11 minutes, but really they were only up there for about 3. It was the 11 minutes was more getting up there, being up there, and coming down.
I saw a video of one of the ladies stepped off the capsule and kissed the ground. And I could only think of Butch and Sonny, who were, spending like a year in space. Like, they really deserved to kiss the ground upon returning to Earth. This was like a 15-minute thing. Spend 15 minutes doing a lot of things throughout the course of a day, but what a unique experience. They needed a female journalist on board.
Well,
Jessica,
Gail King.
they needed you.
Well, here's the thing. I think months back when we first learned about this, I think you asked me if I would like to do that. And I was like, I think we'll let them go up there. But I will say there was a moment when it happened so quickly, and this was even before they were back down, where I thought, okay, that would be pretty cool. I mean, not that I didn't think it was cool before, but I felt like, yeah, let them go up and we'll see. It was a little scary, but there was something today, the excitement over it, and just, wow, I'm all about experiences. That would certainly be one.
That would be unique, no doubt. 1242 on WTMJ. We celebrate the 414 after this.
I'm here to help. This is your WTMJ Fix-It Show host, David Nason, with expert advice for our listeners. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, or cracks in your basement, it's time to call my trusted friends at Accurate Basement Repair. And you know what? You'll get a free expert evaluation on me. You just tell them David Nason, the Fix-It guy, told me to call. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. And again, that's Accurate Basement Repair, 414-744-6900 or AccurateBasementRepair.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
You can't beat Berghardt. New Berlin and Fox Point.
The angels asked the women at the tomb, "Why do you look for the living one among the dead?" This is Archbishop Jeffrey Grubb. The women thought they would find Jesus there. We often look for things in the wrong places. During this Jubilee year, the Holy Father has asked us to be signs of hope for others. Many of our young people seek to find meaning in their lives and may be in need of signs of hope. We need to reach out to them, invite them back to the faith, and show them the hope and love they can find in Jesus. Please join us at Mass.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. Chronic joint pain. You know what living with chronic joint pain is like? It's like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good, right? So forget trying to do the things you enjoy like golfing or hiking or tennis. You're just trying to get by. But there is something you can do. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Milwaukee are on the case and focus on getting you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that can help calm the debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. If you're curious if you'd be a candidate, the consultation is totally free, and they do have appointments on Saturdays. So here's the number. Call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Well, the sun is shining, but the wind is starting to gust up a little bit, up to 40 miles an hour today. Temperatures topping out about 60 degrees. Might see some rain and maybe some snow flurries overnight. Low of 38 degrees. Tomorrow, high of 50. We'll have some clouds in the morning and eventually get to a sunny and breezy afternoon. 59 and sunny in Milwaukee at 45. 54, 45, whatever. It's 414 day. I'm not great with numbers, but I know that.
Oh, yeah. Let me say then, Pat Connaughton, he got a career high of 43. I was thinking 34 because he was going. It was like one career high, and then he went up and went up and went up and went up. 43 is what he got in the
43
end.
points for Pat Connaughton.
He was hot.
Very fittingly on 414 day. A lot of ways to celebrate Milwaukee. The Brewers have a home game. That is great.
There you go.
Well, nobody wears the 414 better or more than Fred Gillett. See, and quite literally, because he owns the 414 shop in the 3rd Ward.
That's right.
How many 414s are you sporting today?
Lots. Jacket, shirts. We got brand new bomber jackets that just dropped today. Those are really cool custom design liners. I design all this stuff. We cut and sew everything. It's very special. So that's a new treat for today. But what we really did today at the flag drop where I just ran from was we honored. Yeah, that's why I got this. I've got this open water thing here. It's tasty. And so we honored the Indian Community School this year. And for the flag ceremony, we had a song that was created by this guy, Joe Rainey. And the students at the school learned the new song and they sang it. And as the flag came down, it was the drum roll. It was like the accompaniment.
Oh, nice.
And so it was really cool because, like, at first, when you're in a big crowd and everyone's kind of boisterous, and then all of a sudden the kids start singing and the beat starts going and the drum, everyone quieted in like a sense of reverence. And it like everyone shut up real quick. And it was like a moment. And like people kind of looked around and like, oh, this is cool. Because these kids were doing something special and you could feel it. There was a connection. So that's why I'm on a little bit of a high right now.
That's good.
It's always such a moment on Milwaukee Day when that flag drops, the 414 flag drops along City Hall. You just came from that. Sometimes weather doesn't cooperate with that. Sometimes it's a little hard to drop that big flag down City Hall. How did it go this morning?
Well, this year, oddly enough, the fastest it's ever gone down was 30 seconds. But I, like a meathead, unfortunately forgot to do the countdown. And so the mayor was supposed to do it with Audra Two Thunders, who's a teacher there, an instructor, and they were going to do it together. But the wind had stopped, and I saw a window, and I just cued the guy, the Joe Rainey and the kids to play.
You're like, drop that flag.
Yeah.
Do it now.
And then the mayor's looking at me, and he's like, dude, you forgot the countdown.
No, man, you just let him hang.
I did. I'm sorry, Mayor Cavalier Johnson. This is twice now that I've apologized to you. Once now on the air, once in front of the crowd, and then in a moment of self-deprecation, everyone forgave me and laughed at me. So last year it was my fault, or last year it was perfect. This year was my fault.
I've seen plenty of people, including our friend, celebrity chef Adam Pavlak, who comes on this program
Adam's
a lot.
the best, man. I've known him since he was 13 years old.
Is that right?
Yeah, he and his dad used to come to Summerfest.
I remember you saying that last year.
I'm such a geezer that, I'm as OG as it gets, right? So I've been advocating for the city my entire life. But he and his dad more or less used to buy, I used to have a vending booth at Summerfest, and they would pop in all the time. And he, as a kid, and his brother would come in, and they were kids, and they just loved the stuff, because his dad was so hype about Milwaukee. And he's like, look, man, wherever you go and whatever you do, just be proud that you're from here and your family and your roots. And and don't ever be ashamed of it. And so like they always identified with the stuff that I did. And so he's known me since then. And Adam is one of those dudes that he says this is the dumbest thing you could ever say, but if you say what you say and you do what you do, that's all that matters. You know, he's that guy. He says he's going to do something. He did it. He came up to me before anybody knew anything about his Master Chef thing.
Yeah.
And he was going to open his first Crossroads Collective, and I was doing a street festival, and he's like, Fred, I'm going to tell you right now, when fall happens, you're going to see some stuff. I did some good stuff. You're going to be happy. And he opened his shop. We all know that he did great with Gordon Ramsay on the show, and he makes. I was just there last week, and I was ordered some food. I'm there like all the time, less lately, but yeah. You gotta. That's who you respect. That's how you gotta lift up.
Speaking about advocating for the city, can you take us back, because it's such a cool story for people who don't know how Milwaukee Day got started, because it's so big now. I mean, you've got the proclamation ceremony, you've got 414 Day Festival, which is coming up in about an hour and 10 minutes.
It's great. People are doing their own thing with it, and that was kind of the idea of the founders guy. These guy Brett, and then I know Brett and then Andy. I know those guys, and so they started it kind of as a joke in a bar, you know, and that's kind of how most things happen in this town, and they kind of generally die there because bar culture is not really inspiring. I thought there's more to this. I saw the potential in the city and the potential in that idea, and I coincidentally started the 414 brand the same year that they started that thing, and I thought, well, these guys built in a holiday for me, but they didn't really do anything with it, and so that's when I started doing the flag drop. And then it started turning into this momentum because I demonstrated, I showed people how to do it. And I don't want to be that guy, but I hear so many people talking and not doing anything. Adam's not one of those guys. He talks, he does stuff. I said, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And now everyone's inspired to do their own thing and celebrate their own uniqueness and show their flavor and show what they can do and how much the city means to them and the people involved. That's the thing that this thing started. And so I'm not the inventor of any sort of area code. I understand that. But I gave this thing some purpose and some meaning. I kind of defined it. And now everyone else can write their own chapters because that's what we do well here. You give us a chance, we can shock the world. Whatever world you live in, we can change it for people.
Yeah, I think it's kind of turned into more of a badge of honor too, right? I've lived in the area for pretty much all my life. In my formative years out of college were spent living downtown in Milwaukee. Yeah. But a lot of friends escaped to Chicago, and that was supposed to be the plan, right? And go to Chicago because that's where everything is.
Because there were more opportunities. There was a different culture. You didn't have a creative economy. You didn't have these things, right? When we have a food scene. So to me, it's a culture table, right? You have 4 legs. One is food, restaurant. We've got that down. Great. Like you can't knock that, right? What we don't really have is music. That's coming back, right? So the fashion and the arts, that's kind of wobbly. So we're trying to strengthen these things by doing these things. Once you have that table set, you can put anything you want on it. You can serve whatever you want as long as you have a good foundation in those legs. And so we need to support those things because, you could turn into a big city like Seattle who had an identity years ago, but then was overtaken by everybody who came in, from all over the place, transplants in the tech world and stuff. And so they lost that Seattle identity. A lot of friends that I knew during my days in the 90s went out there because that's where the opportunity was. They all moved back because they don't recognize what they moved into anymore. And they still see that here. So the whole purpose with the 414 brand is to not forget your roots and be proud of where you came from, because there's nothing to be ashamed of here. We've got great weather. The people are some of the best ever on the planet. If you've traveled, you know this. And just get out of your own world and make a new friend. Find each other. Say hello. Look them in the eye and say, hey, thank you. Or I appreciate what you do. You do great things. How can we do? That's it. It's just the spirit of generosity. That's what this day is now. And if it lasts, for a week or two, great. I'd like to see it last the whole year, and it does. I mean, it continues over the summer. The street festivals are great. Look what happened in the night market when those guys started. Wisconsin Avenue on a Wednesday in the middle of summer was nothing. Now you want to be there. You want to be a part of that. The irony of that is when you create these spaces, at the flag drop, for instance, 2 years ago, a couple had met, started dating, got married last year, celebrated. They came back this year with their kid, with their son, and they celebrated their anniversary there. Doesn't get more Milwaukee than that. That's what we try to do. I try to create that place where we can find each other.
And just to be clear, you don't have to be 414. You can be 262 to celebrate too.
Yeah, of course. You can be. I wouldn't necessarily. I would say like I like you more if you're in 414. Because that. I mean,
but some people were a 414 and then had to become a 262, right?
Of other things. Yeah, I get why people move on. I get it, but I'm just like like put your money where your mouth is. Stay in the city. Stay in the county. Stay. If Milwaukee doesn't work for you, go to Greenfield. Go to Greendale. Go to Whitefish Bay. Go to Shorewood. I love those communities. I have great friends that live there, and they are still committed to the city idea. And as far as I'm concerned, the county is the city. The roads don't stop; they connect. Right? So like, you're telling me that on one side of the street you live in West Dallas, and the other side you live in Milwaukee. It's not the same. Of course it is.
I mean, let's be clear. I live in downtown Milwaukee, but I technically have a 262 right now. My cell phone.
That's just a telephone.
So I am 414, but I've got 262 in me.
Yeah, well, maybe when everything goes to IP addresses, I'll do an IP address T-shirt.
What is that? 44411 dot.
Wait, you guys just came up with a great idea. We're gonna hit up the internet bros, the tech nerds, and we're gonna convince them to create an entire bank of new IP addresses based on area codes.
There you go. Okay,
there we go.
Your next project.
All right, you heard it here first. Fred Gillett he is the owner of the 414 shop, celebrating everything that is 414 Day. I know it's a busy day for you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you popping in.
Appreciate you having me again.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, great to have you. 12:55 in WTMJ. Reminder: text the word Midday to 855-616-1620. Get you all the details of our Wisconsin's Midday News podcast sent right back to your mobile device. It's built by Siding Unlimited, the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast. Now with an extra hour beginning on Thursday.
414. Let's have one more.
We should. News is coming up.
Don't count us out. Not
Lillard scoops to the hoop, lays it in. The Bucks have taken a 1-point Lopez in transition, squeezes up a three, and he drilled it. The Bucks throwing fire.
This season is far from over.
To work with, drives inside and stuffs it down with the right hand. 59 points now for Giannis. He's tapping his chest as he goes the other way, saying, "This is my house.
We are the home of the Bucks.
This is my house."
WTMJ.
For 70 years, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in the state of Wisconsin. Greg Matzek here. Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Make that call to Geis. They've got brands like CHI and LiftMaster in stock. If you go to their showroom, you'll see what I saw. And that is just dozens upon dozens of doors and openers for every budget available. And in